Hello, beautiful souls. My name is Christy Godwin. Welcome to the very first episode of Spiritual Talk with Christy Godwin and Friends. I myself am a certified psychic medium, certified life coach, also recently certified in forensic psychic. So check me out on all the social media platforms. Christy Godwin Psychic Medium. That's my webpage, TikTok, Facebook. I am here today with my beautiful, beautiful friend, Kayla Miller. I want to thank her for being here. She runs a energy business. She is a Reiki, certified Reiki master. Is that correct?
Certified Reiki practitioner. I actually went down the path of Reiki, and then I realized that this might not be my path. So I discovered ARC Healing, and now I do ARC Healing. So thank you so much for having me.
She runs a beautiful business. Her business is Living from the Heart Center. Now, I've known Kayla for quite some time, and when I was going to do my first episode, she was the one that came to mind because she lives from such a beautiful, beautiful energetic vibration. And she does some phenomenal energy work. So I just want to put that in there before we get out to onto our talk today. She does wonderful energy healing. She's all about healing from the heart center and just really getting rid of blocks that you have in your life that may be keeping you stuck. Sometimes we're stuck and don't realize it. And it's all about the energy. So thank you so much for being here today, Kayla.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be a part of this and honored, and I'm so excited to see how this journey goes for you.
And for me as Kayla as well, she's recently made a huge decision. She's going to kick off her business full time, and just so excited for what comes her way. So I do want to kick off this talk just talking a little bit of what energy is for those listening. Energy is everywhere. You know, people think, yes, we're energetic beings. You know that dogs, the sun coming in, all these living beings, the sun provides energy, the mammals, everything's energy. But so is my bookcase. So is my paper. Everything around us is energy. It's just compressed or not compressed as much. Now, whenever we talk a lot about energy and vibrations. Kayla is a beautiful intuitive. I know that we talked a lot about her energy work. She's a beautiful intuitive. And how does she do that? She keeps her energy flowing and raises her vibration. How do I connect to the other realms? The psychic medium work, when I connect with angels or ascended masters, energy flowing and raise our vibration. So do you find that to be true, Kayla?
Absolutely. I mean, if you were to look at your hand underneath a microscope, you would see that there are tiny, tiny little atoms, and we all are vibrating at specific different frequencies, and that's just energy moving in different amounts of frequency. So yes, absolutely. I 100% agree with that.
And I will say in my life coaching business, some of the biggest things and biggest hurdles I help people through is stuck energy that they do not realize that is stuck. And there you'll hear a lot of different terms for this kind of work. You know, if you're a Carl Jung supporter, you'll hear it as triggers. If you're a Sue Morter fan, she works with energy codes. She talks about those, she calls those triggers the protective body. So we all, as we go through life, develop protective mechanisms. Our ego does, and it's not wrong. You know, it's just protecting us. Our ego has gotten us this far in life, which I so appreciate it. But it also will give us blocks in our energy just to protect us. And then when those blocks are activated, it can be called a trigger because that memory is being brought up. Your energy is like, whoop, whoop, stay away from this. Let's protect this old wound. And so with energy work, with your ARC healing, you do the basis is to, yes, wounds need to be healed from the inside out to be healed effectively.
Absolutely. Yes. And I'm sure some are wondering what ARC healing is, and it stands for Advanced Renewal and Opening of Channels. It's somewhat similar to what Reiki is. The best way that I can describe it is that, say that Reiki is like FM waves and ARC healing is AM waves. So they're the same form of energy healing, but they're just on different kind of wavelengths. And when it comes to triggers or blocks, ways that we can describe or acknowledge our blocks, say, for example, lack. We feel lack and we're triggered by that, especially if we see other people who have things that we want and we haven't achieved yet. And we'll be like, oh, that must be nice that they can go on vacations all the time, that they can have all this nice things in their life, a beautiful car, beautiful house. When you take a step back and you acknowledge the fact that this is triggering you don't have that unconditional gratefulness for somebody else or supportiveness for them. Take a moment and look at where you feel it in your body and why do I feel this fear or this resentment towards somebody else who has this? And it can show up in many different forms. But yes, working with energy healing allows you to access these knowledge of the triggers, because a lot of the times we're unaware of what things are triggering us. Yes, absolutely. Working with energy healing is a huge part of releasing and healing on a very deep soul level. I agree 100%.
Yes. And I want to touch on some of what Kayla just said because it was so pertinent that, and I also have a school, Christy Godwin School of Spiritual Development. And in the first class, these poor students, I just started one class last week, and these poor students, I purposely made them think of something that hurt them. So here they are coming to this school, this class, it's all about raising your vibration, keeping your vibration high. And one of the first things I had them do was think about a moment that hurt them, that caused them angst. And I had them feel where it was in their body. And then we spun that energy and spun it out. And I want everyone listening to this to know that I know it sounds silly to some people who are not in the spiritual realm. When Kayla talks about this ARC healing, when I talk about the to spinning the energy to get rid of the energy, but I have never, I'm not going to make a blanket statement and say it works for everyone because that's impossible, but I have personally never worked with someone through spinning their energy and identifying what their triggers were and walking them through it that didn't come out better on the other side. Have you experienced the same, Kayla?
Absolutely. And sometimes the thing is that I've noticed on this healing journey is that you have to address things that we have suppressed, and you have to feel things that maybe has been under the rug for years in order to really release things. And I know a lot of people probably don't think about that when it comes to healing, that you're gonna have to go through some rough patches in order to see that green grass on the other side. And it's all about patience and giving yourself grace and holding space for yourself is a huge part of the energy healing and just spiritual healing in general. It's not always pretty.
No, it is frequently never pretty.
No, not at all.
Oh my goodness, yes. I do want to also say, whenever you will hear me on my podcast talk about a lot of different spiritual paths and concepts, but I do want to tell everyone that however many people there are in this world, that's how many spiritual paths there are. So don't judge how far you're coming, how fast you're going. Please just take it at your own path, your own speed. Honor yourself. And I would probably, most people listening to a podcast like this is going to be someone who's an empath. Empaths are frequently what I call, they're emotionally intelligent. So you understand why people are behaving the way they're behaving. And a lot of times when you understand why someone is behaving the way they are, the negative part of that is we accept that behavior for longer because we understand why it's coming our way. So touch on what Kayla was just talking about, that it's not pretty when you start putting up those boundaries and start saying, you know what, I need to work on myself for a while. I understand that you know, came out of a bad relationship. I understand that you lost, but you cannot, I will support you, but you can't treat me badly because you're going through a bad time. And
100%.
sometimes for an empath, that can make you feel very selfish because it's not anything we've done before.
And you start second guessing if you're a good person because you're honoring your boundaries. And it's so new.
Yes. But that in itself can start bringing up some stuck energy because we became empaths and put other people's needs before us for a reason.
Mhm.
We were usually conditioned as a child to do that.
Yes.
And to not honor ourselves. And so that's like number one step when you're starting on the spiritual journey, that you're going to start questioning, oh my goodness, am I being selfish? Because you're starting to work on those energy blocks.
Mhm. And you know what? It's never ending. There's always going to be different layers to it. You'll have moments where you make breakthroughs, and there's a period where it's kind of restful. You don't have a lot of healing going on. And then something else comes up that you thought you had already healed. It's just a deeper level of it. And it's during those moments that after you've gone through a few rounds of this, you'll understand why you're feeling the things that you're feeling, why the emotions are coming up. And you'll be able to journal it, get it out of your system, honor the process, allow yourself to feel the emotions and move on. Actually, Christy and I were just talking about this before we started recording, because I've had a few moments like this just within the last few days where I'm really embracing listening to my soul and honoring that, even if my logical mind and my ego are like, what are you talking about? And they want to be in fear. And I was just describing to Christy that it's from one end of the spectrum to another, where I feel fear and I'm second guessing all the decisions that I'm making. And then I go to gratitude because I'm so grateful for the fact that I'm taking a chance and I'm listening to my heart and I'm listening to my soul. So have patience with yourself, and patience is going to be such a huge lesson on this journey.
Yes.
Patience is very important. It's never ending. So I encourage you just to embrace it. Focus on raising your vibration, which we're going to talk about, and give yourself grace.
Right. And, you know, I do want to touch on what Kayla had said, because something beautiful. I mean, she's at a point, her business is growing enough that she has now determined she has to make this change and turn it into a full time. It's a great thing. Everyone here will like, that's a phenomenal thing. There's also fear associated with that. So now
Yes.
fear is your ego protecting you. And so, you know, you have to work through it. Same thing. My business just all of a sudden took off at a pace. You know, all those fears comes in. Am I going to be able to service everyone that needs me? Am I going to be able to make sure the infrastructure of my business? Because to me, it's not about the problem of reading people. I can sit and I can read and do psychic medium readings 8 hours a day, not an issue. There's a whole lot of infrastructure, though, that comes behind a business. Am I going to be able to keep up with that? Am I going to miss an email that someone needs? That's the fear. And so I remember when that hit me. For one thing, I was being a little bit whiny in my head to myself. Do y'all ever do that? You know, you get these whiny. I am whining over something that is absolutely phenomenal in my life. And, you know, of course. And I caught myself. And that's the trick. You catch yourself. Once you've done this work enough, it's not like you don't have the negative thoughts. It's not that but you recognize it faster.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And you're able to switch and pivot how you're looking at a situation or the emotions that are coming up, and be able to say, okay, why am I feeling this? How can I move forward?
Yes, so like 30 seconds into this mental barrage, you know, normally years ago, it would have been days, maybe weeks into it. But that time it was like 30 seconds. I actually laughed at myself. I sat down I grounded myself and spun energy, and instantly that fear went away. And I do
Mhm.
want to also tell people that when you're being led by when you're getting synchronicities and when you're feeling pulled by your intuition, there is a lot of fear because you're never told where step 20 is. You're given enough light and guidance for your next step.
Mhm.
And that's where,
Absolutely.
yeah. And so Kayla, that's where that fear came in, was she was given enough light for the next step. She knew she needed to take it and she did it. But there's a lot of fear when you just see, but that's where the phenomenal blessings come. And if anyone can take away from this, if you're stepping out, if you feel like you're being led in a way that is positive, that you can see, oh, I cannot imagine my life without doing this next step, it's going to be rewarded.
Mhm.
I always
Yes.
have my disclaimer. Spirit's guidance from the other side is only going to talk to you in positivity and love. Spirit's guidance from the other side, your soul, your own soul, is never going to tell you to hurt yourself or someone else or to put negative thoughts in your head.
Mhm.
It's only of positivity and love. I want everyone to be clear on that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's your ego that can put in that doubt, that negative thought. Yes.
Yes. And our ego protected us. When I look at my childhood growing up, without my ego, I don't know that I would have survived it because it really protected me.
Yeah.
But then also now, I mean, I had a ton of triggers I had to work through
Mhm.
because I was
Mhm.
protected so much growing up by my ego. A lot of
Yes.
protection going
Yes. Yeah. And after a certain point in your life, it's there's a moment where we have an awakening, and it's like our ego cracks open.
on.
And then when it comes back together, it re-evolves into something completely different.
Yes.
And it's being able to discern that and understand it.
And I want to touch on something Kayla said earlier. I lived a lot of my childhood in what I call lack. Now I can recognize it as lack. When you're living it as a child, you don't really realize it. There was a lack of love, a lack of resources, a lack of positive. There was just a lack of everything.
Mhm.
So that has created a lot of my triggers. So I work a lot on that. And so the great thing about this is when you can identify where your trigger is and you're like, oh yes, now I can work on that. So I did some of the initial work years ago, but even now, if I feel it creeping in, I will just sit in meditation for a while and just say, I am abundant. I am abundant love. I am abundant resources. I am abundant clients. I am in positivity, and just sit and
Mhm, mhm. And that's a really good way to raise your vibration is affirmations.
yes,
Yes.
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 So now let's move on to the second part of what we were originally going to talk is raising our vibrations. So one we kind of covered, but let me wrap what we just talked about because it was kind of all over the place. Let me just wrap up what we just talked about. One of the main issues of raising your vibration is getting rid of stuck energy. Would you not agree, Kayla?
Completely. Yes.
You can absolutely go to a practitioner. So I will say, if you feel like you need guidance in that area, Kayla can make an appointment with me. We both work in those arenas. But I don't want you to think that you have to have someone to heal yourself. You don't. Yes, Kayla and I would love to help you along that journey, but you can do it on your own. And I'm going to, if you don't mind, Kayla, I'm going to give someone, and this is by all, not any means a very detailed, I'm going to give you like a 30-second crash course for those listening of just how if you feel something stuck, how you can fix it. Are you good with that,
Yeah.
Kayla?
Yeah. Go right ahead.
Now, just know that what I'm doing in 30 seconds, I can teach an entire day class on, and Kayla can do the same. I mean, so I'm giving you a complete crash course on it. It can be much more in depth. So if you can feel that something has hit you in your heart or your solar plexus, first you want to think about something that has upset you. Your coworker just came over and threw some papers on your desk, or you just had a phone call with a significant other that kind of was not what you wanted it to be. Feel in your body where that hit you. It hit your solar plexus, your throat chakra, your heart chakra. Feel where that kind of hit you. Then you want to sit deep in your rear end, your root chakra, for if those are familiar with your chakra system. And then you want to breathe deep into your stomach. You want to take a deep breath, not just into your chest. You want to feel your stomach expand, and you just want to blow it out. And you will do that like 3 times. You're just getting the rhythm of the breathing. Now, when you're ready, you think about that block where I'm going to just pretend I have one in my heart chakra. So I'm going to take a deep breath and I'm going to blow out my mouth forcefully. But as I'm blowing, I'm envisioning the energy coming up, spinning that chakra and flying out my crown chakra. You're spinning the chakra and unblocking that energy. The goal is to get a healthy energy flow going up the center of your body. And if you have a block, the energy will go around the block and then go, that's not efficient. Again, that's like a 30-second crash course on something that's much more detailed. But I want every time I do some kind of podcast, I want people to have a takeaway they can implement in their life and make positive changes.
Yeah, that's a really, really good way to describe that, Christy. Thank you.
You
We
like my
always
crash
want,
course?
yes, 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 absolutely. We always, as intuitives, as psychics, as mediums and healers, our main goal is to help people feel empowered and to step into who they are. So if you feel that you want to try this on your own, go right ahead. You can search YouTube's. They have guided meditations for all kinds of chakra balancing and releasing of energy. So if you do not feel comfortable reaching out to somebody at this moment, try it on your own. This is all about stepping into yourself, raising your vibration, and feeling empowered as an individual.
And this is why I chose Kayla to help me with my first podcast, because she is all about empowering other people to make positive changes. And again, yes, we love to help people, but we understand not everyone has the financial resources to do it. Not everyone feels comfortable making an appointment with someone. So we always want people to have a positive takeaway. So another way is the positive mantras that I briefly talked about a moment ago. What's some of your favorite positive mantras that you say, Kayla?
I like to say, I actually had this mantra come into my head the other day, and it's been stuck in my head ever since. And my guides like to do stuff like that, where they just pop little things into my head. So I've been saying this for a few days now. It's in regards to being, I am aligned, I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am in aligned. Everything comes to me at the perfect time. And it's kind of has its own little beat to it. So I have been saying that over and over in my head. So that's one of my
I love
favorites.
that because it's kind of makes you want to kind of pop.
Yes.
And movement in
with
general, gets energy flowing, and it's a great way to raise your vibration. And so for those listening or watching, according to what platform you're getting this information on, the thing with the mantras is you use them when they're convenient for you.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's in meditation. Sometimes it's a great way to break a negative thought circle you get going in your head.
Mhm.
I'm sure Kayla doesn't know anything about those, but I have a PhD in negative thought circle.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I can feel guilty over something I did 20 years ago. And, when you look at the different levels of emotions, shame and guilt is right there on the bottom. And even anger is above on the emotional scale. Anger is even above, shame and guilt. So anger, no, you don't want to reside in that, the anger state, but it is better than being in shame and guilt. So the idea is to just get your emotions higher and higher. And so if you ever have a negative thought circle, being able to chant what Kayla just said, how would that break that negative thought circle? And, another one that I have used over the years, I haven't recently used, so maybe I have to get back out, is I am love. I am infinite love. I am infinite love. There have been times in my life where that's all I could muster.
Yes, yes, yes. And another one that I really encourage even my husband to use is to just start thinking about anything that you are grateful for. So you're having a horrible day and it just seems like everything has gone wrong that could. I always like to start with, I am grateful for my house. I am grateful for my husband. I am grateful for the breath that is in my chest. I am grateful for the ability to walk. Just anything that you can you can think of to be grateful for. Gratitude helps raise your vibration. It's actually one of the highest emotions that you can feel. And it's a great way to get you out of the funk, to get you stuck, out of an area. Usually you're stuck in your head when you're having a bad day. So to feel it in your chest and feel that gratitude in your heart, it really helps you. And saying mantras or affirmations for that, it's something that I like to practice as well and encourage others to do.
It's Kayla led right into the next one I was going to talk about. I don't know if anyone here has ever heard of Dr. Emoto's work. He took water and he would talk negativity to it, maybe say angry things to the water. I know for people watching, they're like, what? He talked to water? He did. And he froze the water and took pictures of the molecules. So if you search his work, he did, you can look at the pictures where he spoke anger to water, and then the pictures where he spoke gratitude and love to water. And it's beautiful. Like the molecules where he spoke these love language to this water and froze it. It's beautiful. Just crystals that are just perfectly formed. And then water where he spoke anger to, it's all murky and disjointed looking. So that is something else we talked about. Matter of fact, in the class I was teaching the other day, is sometimes if you just sometimes you wake up in a funk.
You do.
Those days, I purposely, the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning after I brush my teeth and all that is I drink a glass of water. And as the water is coming into the glass, I will be thankful. Thank you for this water. Thank you for nourishing my body. Thank you for hydrating me. And I will go washing clothes. Thank you for my washer and dryer. Because let me tell you, I've been watching 18 and I would not have wanted to, no. That whole hand washing, no.
Yes.
I very much like the reminder. I'm very thankful. And it goes to just anything I touch, I express gratitude. And yes, the first couple of times you do that, you're like, why am I telling my washer and dryer? Why am I being thankful for my shirt?
It's kind of like an exercise, a way of living that you have to learn, because we're not taught to be grateful for everything we have. A lot of the times we think about what we don't have and we're constantly chasing. But when we take a moment to be grateful for what we have and that we have everything we need in this moment, you start attracting things.
Absolutely. Also, I want to mention to people that negativity is somewhat evolutionary. You have to think about when you were, back in the days traveling across, the United States when there was no cities, back when we were gatherers, hunters, and just wandered around. Okay, you're very thirsty. You have seen now a pool of water. Back then, you couldn't just run over to that pool of water and start drinking. You had to evaluate, are there any wild animals around? Is there a tribesman that might take me out? So we have been conditioned through evolution to look for the negative because it kept us safe. Yes. Same thing as a child. That's how a lot of my triggers, looking for the negativity that was coming at me kept me safe because then I could dodge it sometimes. But again, sometimes negativity is just trained into us. It's evolutionary. So it's going to be work then to train ourselves back out of that. So I understand everything that Kayla and I are talking about. It's work. It's not easy.
It's rewarding once you do it, though.
And everyone here is so worth it.
Exactly.
We're so worth it. I have a friend of mine who just has gone through a terrible time in the last year. And of course, she has easy access to me. She's a friend. Also, if you're my friend, I don't have quite as great of a filter as I do if you're a client. Oh, I'm that
happens for the best of us. Not just you.
Just to see, last night she was texting me and she didn't think anything about it, but something she said was in such positivity and the expectation of how she expected others to treat her and what she was going to tolerate. And she said it in a very kind way. She was just pretty much like, yeah, no, I turned that date down because, and she was very specific. She never would have done that a year ago. I was so proud of her. Yes. So just know it's rewarding. And sometimes you make baby steps and you don't realize you're making these steps because you're on this path. So you don't realize how far you're coming, but someone from the outside looking in is going to recognize.
And then when you experience those moments where you're able to take a step back and look at all of the lessons that you've learned and how you've integrated it into your life, and you've started living that way, it literally will overcome you with emotion of so much gratitude
Oh,
and
yeah.
love and appreciation for the process, the highs, the lows. It's the lows that allow you to appreciate and have so much gratitude for the highs. And then you realize that life really is a magical thing. And when you're able to understand that there's magic in life, you have a completely different appreciation for it, for all the different highs and lows that you encounter.
And I love you use the word magic. And I want to remind everyone here that we all have our own magic. Kayla's magic is different from mine, as ours will be
Yes.
different from whoever is watching this. We
Mhm.
all bring something different to the table. And that's the reason I say the spiritual path. However many people there are, that's how many paths there are, because we're all individuals. We're all different. We all bring our own magic. So make sure you're honoring yourself and your process and what you're going through. Now, another way, I know that these are some other ways to raise your vibration that are pretty common knowledge, but Kayla and I are still going to talk about it, is choosing good, healthy foods.
Yes, live foods.
Yes, live foods. Now, I do like my French fries and potato chips, just like the other person. And I would never tell someone to completely cut those things out of their diet, but moderation is always key.
Yes, it is. It is. And even I know it's very controversial for some of the people, especially in the spiritual community, when it comes to eating meat. And
Mhm.
this is something that I don't know how often you eat meat, Christy, but I've reintroduced it into my life here and there. But I always make sure to say, I'm so grateful for the animals that have sacrificed themselves to be able to nourish my body and feed my family. And it's all about intentions and saying thank you. So I don't
That's
want
right.
anybody to feel guilty for what they're doing. I
No. I will,
No,
and
it's
I'll
all
be the
about
first to
intention.
admit, do I eat as much meat as I used to? No. Do
No.
I still eat meat? Absolutely. And I don't know. I can't foresee me ever taking it completely out of my life. And again, I will agree with Kayla. This is a very controversial subject, especially in the spiritual community. People are very much, because yes, meat is low vibration.
Mhm.
Live foods, plants, vegetables are very much higher vibrational. And then even when you look at proteins, it comes, fish is higher vibrational than beef and those types of things. So everyone, moderation and do what is right for you. And
Mhm.
also I want to, if someone is doing something, if it's not hurting you, like, then let people do their thing. Let people
Mhm.
travel their own path if it's not hurting you or someone else.
Yes,
Something else
100%.
that is big that I think people know, but they don't think about it, is clearing out the clutter.
Yes, I have that. I wanted to talk about that today. I'm so glad you brought that up. It's huge.
Well, yeah, you have to think about when you go into, and I'm not talking about judging, because I don't go into people's houses and judge, but if you go into someone's house who just has a lot of clutter sitting around, you can feel the energy is kind of stagnant.
Mhm.
If a house is clear and cleared out, the energy just moves better, it flows better. Some people
Mhm.
can even get into the feng shui of it, and I haven't quite done that in my house, but I do try to keep it pretty clear.
Mhm. And I know that it's life can be hectic and it's sometimes challenging for us to keep our
Yes.
houses clean 24/7, but you will know when you need to start cleaning out a specific room. You can feel it when you walk into the house sometimes.
Yes.
I know I'm actually in the process of this right now where I'm thinking about how I'm going to clean out my house this coming spring since it's starting to warm up. And what I want to do and how I want to rework it because I want a better flow of energy within our home.
Absolutely. And my house itself is pretty straight, but I have my master closet is ridiculous. And it's starting to bother me. Like I can
Mhm.
feel it pulling me. The energy is like, oh, gotta get to that. And then of course the same spring is coming. So we hit our garage because my garage has also been bothering me. But in this class I was teaching, every day I was giving people different ideas. Today's for gratitude. And yesterday I posted on there for them to clear something out. Is it the junk drawer? If you can't tackle an entire closet, get a shelf in the closet. Just do a shelf, one at a time. Yeah, do something small. Because a lot of times if you're overwhelmed with the process, you end up not doing anything.
Yeah. Like that huge clothes basket on the ground that you just pulled out of the dryer.
I'm feeling judged by Kayla right now.
Oh, no, I'm right there with you. Today's laundry day. That's why I talked about it.
But before I came on to record this, I was in the middle of laundry and oh my word, enough said about that. But so do something small. I'll take a week and every day, I'll just take a couple of things out of my house that no longer are serving me, and think your personality changes, your taste change. So maybe you used to love that figurine sitting on your shelf. You don't anymore. It's okay to regift it. Take it to a thrift shop. Same with clothes. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Or even dishware that you're no longer using and it is just collecting dust.
Yes,
coffee cups. I'm so bad about coffee cups. I need to clean those out.
Kayla probably went through my house before this podcast, and that's where she's getting all of these ideas.
I just think we have a lot of parallels.
We do. My shelf with their overflowing coffee cups. So just make sure, do it. Little things. The junk drawer, the shelf. Take 5 cups out of your house. And as I'm saying that, I'm like, oh, but can I part?
I know. The attachment.
Yes, Christy, you can do it. You can part. So what are some other things that you can think of would be great ideas to raise vibrations?
I love dancing and listening to high vibrational music while you do it, because it also allows you to release stuck energy in your body as well. Specifically, it's really, really good for your sacral chakra and your root to be able to move and get stuck energy out and just kind of get in your body. I love using dancing as a way to raise my vibration. It allows you to feel joy in the moment too. And joy is one of those high vibrational emotions.
And as a psychic medium, I read a lot of different people. And in every reading just about will go from sadness to joy to laughter to tears. My tagline is healing one heart at a time, because readings are phenomenally healing. Sometimes though, they can be tough. If someone has lost a child in a rather violent manner, and so during readings, I have a little break. When I'm running back to back, I'll have a little break between readings, just enough time to grab something to drink. And as I'm headed out to grab my water, I will, Alexa, play music. And I will do exactly that, because it is the fastest way to raise your vibration. Fun music.
Yes.
Or for me,
do you have any specific artists that you like to listen to?
Okay, so Kayla, you're just calling me out all kinds of ways today. My little dark secret is I love me some Eminem.
Oh, really?
I do.
I never would have guessed. I love Eminem too. I know that there's a lot of stigma around him, especially when it comes to like negative talk. But the thing is that he was truly just being himself in a really authentic way. If you take a look at his journey, he really has. And I actually really like Eminem as well.
And whenever, if you just tell my Alexa to play music, she will play anything from jazz to rap and everything.
Okay.
Because that's the way. But to get my energy up fast, I always usually go to who is that artist? Tempo. She sings Tempo.
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
Gosh, making me crazy now. Anyway, I listen to her a lot.
I really like Trevor Hall. I've been obsessed with him for a while. There's something about his energy and I just connect with it. It's like my heart chakra just opens up and I'm just able to feel and have so much love and gratitude. I actually just purchased tickets for my husband and I to go see him this coming month, this in April. So
Oh,
I'm
very
so
fun.
excited.
Fun.
So
And
excited.
that reminds me, see how excited Kayla is over purchasing those tickets. Also reminds me to schedule fun.
Yes.
Make sure, and because I'm telling you, if my calendar is, so to make an appointment with me, you can go to my website and you just click on the calendar. It opens up and you choose a date and time that works for you. Zoom link is sent. I show up on your screen. I absolutely adore what I do. So does Kayla. Now, the problem with adoring what you do is you will just do it.
Yes, and continue and not schedule any fun.
Yes, exactly. Because I absolutely love it. It energizes me. But you also have other people in your, family that you need, your husband or kids or friends, or you just need to make sure you schedule fun. So I will block time on my calendar. And if I see it's blocked, I know that I need to schedule something specifically fun. It could be anything. It could be having my grandbabies over for dinner. It could be, usually it revolves around my grandbaby somehow. I'm
Well, that's a
going to lunch
beautiful
with a
thing.
friend later today, but my grandbabies do have my heart. And then, schedule little getaways or just cater to those relationships around you that are meaningful. Don't forget to do that. That is a great way to keep you healthy. Moderation. It's all about moderation.
Yes, yes. And connecting with your tribe. Humans need community. It's very important for us.
Kayla's bringing up all the good points here. I do want to talk a little bit about that because finding your tribe can be difficult.
Yeah.
It can be heartbreaking because sometimes people that you feel like were in your tribe, you realize didn't really have your back in the manner you thought they would.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be especially hurtful. I mean, it can be more hurtful when you have a friend break your trust than when you have
Yes.
a partner, as in a husband or a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, break that trust.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but they're out there. If you put it out there, another great way to use a positive mantra. I am happy and grateful for my tribe. I'm happy and grateful for like-minded friends. I'm happy and grateful, however you want to word that.
Mm-hmm.
Because as you start evolving and start changing your spirituality, start looking for different things in life, start raising your vibration. You have to think about it. If you're raising your vibration, what happens to all those people you've been hanging out with that weren't? And it's not there's anything wrong with them. They're perfectly lovely, beautiful people.
Mm-hmm.
You're just changing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes,
so
and they'll fall away.
yes. And so you're changing, your friends are kind of falling away, but you haven't found your new tribe yet. So you will go through kind of a time that's very lonely.
Mm-hmm.
And you start second guessing yourself.
Yes, and I think actually we had talked about this the other day, how there's different stages to the awakening, and I'm sure we can talk about that in a different episode. But there is a specific stage that you go through where it's kind of like the void, where you're kind of alone and you literally have to learn how to befriend yourself and be your own best friend. And during that process, you're going to have a lot of highs and lows, but the best outcome that comes out of that is having so much self-love for yourself on a completely different level than what you ever imagined that self-love could be. And achieving that is huge.
Yeah.
So bravo to everybody that's going through that stage.
I will, because yes, Kayla she's gonna have to come back because then we have another subject that we need to talk about. But one of the great things that I noticed whenever I started walking in more self-love, and I'm not talking selfish, self-centered love. I'm talking about accepting myself because, I don't expect my friends, my husband, my children, anyone around me to be perfect. But why do we expect that out of ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
And then when we're not, we beat ourselves up, the guilt, the shame, then that's when you start spiraling. When I could tell I was really making progress is when I can laugh at some of the things and offer myself grace when I make a mistake.
Yes.
I'm quick to identify if I feel like maybe I have said something that I shouldn't have said. I'm quick to identify it and turn right around to that person and say, I think that came out in a way I didn't mean it to. Whereas before, I would have just beat myself up over it. And then once I apologize, I move on. Whereas before I would have apologized, but then I would have beat myself up for 10 years.
Right.
So when
And
you
it's like
start,
a certain level of accountability as well.
yes.
Hmm.
Hmm. And
We've all,
when you start walking in that love vibration, very rarely do you start making mistakes that do hurt other people because you're walking in this love vibration.
yes, absolutely.
Okay, so let's recap real quick some of the ways. Spend your energy. That is the number one way to raise your vibration. I gave you a 30-second crash course again. If y'all want more detail, you can make an appointment with Kayla or I. Mantras are a good way. Gratitude, high vibrational foods, which are live foods, plants, the vegetables, fruits, music.
Hmm.
Did I forget? Kayla?
Dancing.
Yes.
Yes. And I do want to add just one little thing, working with crystals and also with essential oils. I know that they're just like everyday things that we don't think about, but if you start incorporating things like that into your life, you will notice a difference, especially if you start using essential oils versus candles that you get from like Yankee. Don't get me wrong, I love me my banana walnut bread candles, but you do notice a difference in your home when you start using items such as that.
Yes. And I have, there's a whole class that I offer on that I've done in person where we use essential oils, the smell of them to break some of those triggers. There's an actual way to do that. And so, yes, I have a diffuser. Those are excellent ways. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see right behind me, I have some crystals. If you're just listening to it, I do have them around and you can do some research on them. One of the best ways, there is a technique you can use to see if crystal is right for you, but my favorite way is just walk into a crystal shop and see where I'm being drawn.
Absolutely.
What am I being pulled towards?
How does it feel when you pick it up? Yeah.
Yes. And set the intention with that crystal. When you bring it home, you want to make sure first you clear it of any residual energy from being in the shop, and then set the intention of what you want that crystal to help you with, and it will work with you. Those are great ideas. I want to thank everyone for being here. Now, Kayla, what is your email? How can people get in touch with you?
Well, I actually have a few different ways that people can reach out. I am on TikTok and I am on Instagram, and my handle is Living from the Heart Center on both of those. I do have a website, livingfromtheheartcenter.com, and my email is livingfromtheheartcenter@gmail.com. So all Living from the Heart Center, pretty simple.
Thank you so much. Again, my name is Christy Godwin. You can find me on all the social media platforms. Also, I have a website, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Christy Godwin Psychic Medium. My email is christygodwin111@gmail.com. If you have any questions, concerns, please email me. I hope to have Kayla back. So if you want us to answer some questions for you, email me. I'll make sure we get those taken care of. I want to thank everyone for spending this time with us. I know that time is precious, and I so appreciate you spending some time with Kayla and I today. And thank you for being here, Kayla.
Thank you for having me. I was happy to have some great conversations.
Everyone have a blessed day.